Let's check out an option called outlining strokes. So what we're going to do is go File, New again. We're keeping that new tradition up right now. Again, I'm using my favorite web at 960 by 560. Pick up your star tool and draw yourself a star on the screen. Something like that. I'm going to change the fill color so it's not a boring white. I'm going to leave the stroke alone in terms of its size, but I want you to go over and pick up our width tool. We used this in the previous lesson. I'm going to come over here and just start doing this. Why? Because I can. Now, if you'll notice the smart cursor, if you're looking for exact numbers, you can do this and follow the exact numbers. Me, today, I'm not in an exact mood. So I'm just going to expand this out a little bit, just like this. I'm just trying to create something different. And this variable width tool really can do that for you. Okay, let's stop there before we get into much more trouble. What I have now is an object that has a fill and a stroke that has a variable width. What if, for whatever reason, you want to be able to manipulate that stroke as if it were an object? Because in reality, it isn't. It's just a path that we've done this variable width on. If we select it and come up to the word object and go down to expand appearance, what that does is it will separate the stroke from the fill, but the stroke is still a stroke. I want to control it in ways that you can't do that with a stroke. So I'm going to go down to path and come over to outline stroke. Now when I do, the stroke is no longer a stroke. It's an object. If we come in here, you will notice that these are grouped together. I don't need the fill anymore of this thing. Actually, it's two fills when you think about it. But I'm going to go to the word object and say ungroup. I'm going to come back and select the fill and just get rid of it. And now I have this. But you'll notice it says no stroke. Well, there is no stroke anymore because it's an object without a stroke. I can come to the fill color and actually change the fill color. I can, if I choose, to put a stroke on it if I want to. So I can come over here and click here. Let's go ahead and select it. And maybe just put a black stroke so we can see this. And we can go through the process all over again. In other words, we can come back over to our variable width tool. That's saying you're going to do this. And we could begin playing around with all these different anchor points and making them thicker and thinner, whatever you want to do. And since we do have the variable width option now, strokes can get pretty cool. They're not just straight or curved lines of the same thickness. And you can create pretty interesting objects based and starting on a stroke. Now, another reason you might use this is that some earlier versions of Illustrator, now we haven't gotten to saving files yet, but understand when you save files in Adobe Illustrator, you can save them back way in the past to like Illustrator 7 or 6. Well, those earlier versions didn't have the ability to scale strokes and effects. And if you're giving something like that star with the fill to somebody, and they may be resizing it in an earlier version of Illustrator, they won't be able to do that easily. So another reason to do outlines might be that. But for me, it's to have some fun and try something different. On to the next.